Okay. Does anybody else hear the recording in progress, or is it just?
Yes.
Okay, good.
We all have to sign in.
It's new.
Okay. All
I
right.
never before.
Good morning. As a preliminary matter, this is John Brescher, Chair of the Town Government Study Committee. For me to confirm that all members of the person that's presenting the agenda, our president can hear me. Members on calling name, please respond in the affirmative. Rick Atherton.
Aye.
Campbell Sutton.
Aye.
Curtis Barnes.
Aye.
Linda Williams.
Aye.
Booker Holland.
Aye.
Awesome. And the chair, John Brescher. Let's see. This open meeting of the Town Government Study Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted up with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment to those members of the public that have joined via Zoom. For this meeting, the Town Government Study Committee is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website. For Zoom meetings, please know that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating in a video conference. Please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured on the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. Public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. We're not sharing the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, let's go over some ground rules. Chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After we conclude their remarks, Chair will go down the line of members, each by name, provide comment, questions, or motions. Please hold to your name as well. Please remember to mute your phone and computer when you're not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly. For your response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Rise with public comment. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Okay, so first item on the agenda is an approval of the agenda as written.
So moved.
Oh, you guys are so good.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made and second. We'll do a roll call vote. Rick Atherton.
Aye.
Campbell Sutton.
Aye.
Curtis Barnes.
Aye.
Linda Williams.
Aye.
Becker Holland.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye as well. All right, next item is public comment. Seeing as yet again, we have no members of the public. That is, we'll move on to that. And so we'll start getting into the discussion again. So the next topic is the discussion regarding the finalization of the report to the select board and town meeting, and the topics to include in the report and motions related thereto. All right. Lots happened in 24 hours. Not really. So yeah, nice to see everyone, 23 hours later.
John, I think
I had 5 hours on the select board yesterday while they approved having 150 people at the oldest house all summer for concerts.
I was going to say, Curtis has been preparing for the theater in the last 24 hours.
Yep, and they approved it despite all of the concerns.
John, I think before we move on, if we're
Yes.
going to meet next week, because Monday cannot be counted for the 48-hour notice.
That is correct. So I mean we're jumping ahead, but we'll need to meet next week, or I think we should meet next week. And realistically, it's going to be either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, or any combination thereof, because Tuesday's out because of our
Monday holiday.
Because of the Monday holiday. So we'll get to that. And by the way, this was our last scheduled meeting with Erica, so I'm going to have to run the date by her. I can't imagine there should be an issue, but I'll have to run it by her as well. All right. So before we get into that, why don't we see where we are with motions? I don't know if Tucker and Rick, you were able to get that motion together. If we're going to punt that one to next week. Next week.
I think we promised it for next week.
I think you did too, and that works.
Don't you do that are for next
Regardless
week?
of what you said, we promised it for next week.
next week it is. Yes, Campbell.
I could share a small update, very small. There are 9,420 registered voters as of yesterday at 3 or something.
Yeah, I saw that.
Great. So are we, help me out. I believe we're gonna go to, are we gonna start going through our, the old memo to make sure that we're on the same page here with everything?
I think that's probably the best thing to do for now.
Okay. So I'm just gonna go through the headings first before we start to get in, before we get into it. But the first one is the items. We're talking about the items that were reviewed. One first is basic form of government on Nantucket. And so we went through sort of what we were discussing, et cetera. And I know that we have made a motion to or a comment or a motion on this. And my assumption is that we fill in sort of that motion into the memorandum. Is that?
We need to be, this is probably the biggest paragraph of everything.
Okay.
Get it.
I mean, yes, Rick.
Yeah, I think in general, if we go through here, we're going to find that we could add, a paragraph to each of these and say the committee moved and voted or whatever we did, which sort of adds our official action to the existing structure of the memo, which is, I think, what you just said, John, about the first one. And it may follow through relatively easy. We just want to make sure we're not in conflict with what we did before.
I think that's about right. And I think without sort of speaking out of turn, I think that it's going to, in a perfect world, I'll get the minutes together for our next meeting, and the bulk of the minutes are the motions. And so and then we'll effectively sort of copy and paste, or at least highlight and really show what the motions are and putting them into that memo to make so everybody knows. So I think that's yes, Campbell.
I just sent out to you with copied to everyone that thing I had sent to Tucker. I hadn't heard anything back from Tucker, but I wanted everyone to have it for a reference for this paragraph if they thought that there were parts of it that would be good to include. Not to go over today.
Yeah.
Just sent.
Right. No, that's good. Right. Okay. So let's see. So the next, then if we're yep. Go ahead, Campbell.
I think it would go over. It would probably take the place of while the committee has taken the time to research, would probably fit in there.
Okay.
You guys can check it. That's just my input.
Okay. So the next topic that we had on our memorandum, I see, is the organization of the local government and the code enforcement. And this one, this was really focused on the organizational chart. So I think we can certainly add our memorandum or our motion to that as well.
Yep.
The issue with the code enforcement, John, is administrative and not a charter issue.
Right.
But I think a code enforcement officer should be suggested because we've been begging for that at the building department for a while.
Right. Yes, Rick.
We want to separate number 2. I mean, the organization chart, I'm not sure is partly related to enforcement, but it's a somewhat separate issue. I think when I'm just trying to go back to my notes here. In my mind, we had 2 different motions, one on the organization matter and number 2 on enforcement. And So anyway, it's just a thought, John, as you go through this, I think you'll find there were two of them, and adding a section might also help highlight what Linda just referred to. So,
I'm fine with that. I think it probably makes sense. I think it was a good sort of placeholder for when we did it initially, but there's no reason we can't have, frankly, it sort of looks like we've done even more that way. And by separating the two and say, hey, look, here's our paragraph on the organizational section of things, and this is our suggestion, and here's our motion.
right.
And here is our suggestion on code enforcement that we had from last time.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Add that to the minutes. Okay, so then we've got, let's see what our next paragraph is here. The audit committee.
I think that just stays as it is. It's over and done.
I think so too. I don't think we need to do anything more on that.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm just going to share the warrant article relative to, we don't submit any warrant articles. That language is correct.
Well, I mean, the warrant article was submitted on behalf of the select board submitted it.
That's, you need to be very specific about that because none of those three entities are allowed to submit warrant articles. So it'd be change the language. On behalf of the warrant article was submitted.
Got it. Okay.
Because we're not allowed to submit anything, neither of the other two entities you listed.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
That the select board submitted the article not TT. Okay. That's easy enough to change, and it's a good distinction. All right, paragraph 4, or section 4 is the HTC Commission Charter.
It needs a total rewrite.
Oh, yeah.
And I've rewritten it some time ago before I got off as chair, and it's now being reviewed by certain people.
So,
But our comment here
yeah,
essentially says that, and it looks okay to me.
Yeah, I think we
fine.
should just leave it where it is. Yeah.
Fine with me. Okay. Let's see. Paragraph 5, licensing commissioner board.
Yay.
Well, I think we can add to our, make sure we add our motion to that as well.
Well, it doesn't. Didn't we create two motions in this section? One for, no, I guess there's the parking, never mind.
So, well, that's a good point, Campbell, because the next one is parking.
Yep.
And I think we're going to need to bolster that paragraph because the parking is sort of, we're sort of congratulating ourselves saying, hey, good news, you know, it sounds like there was a separate parking commission via a warrant article. So everybody's all set with this. Clearly that's not the case. So
Right.
I think we're going to need to add some language or sort of an explanation behind our motion in paragraph 6 with the parking commission, because yes, there's a warrant article for this. Yes, you select board, you've said you're going to do this, yet here we are, you know, May of 2021, not doing anything. Yes, Rick.
Yeah, just sort of local politics, if you will, at least as I know that Matt Fee has tried to push to establish the parking commission. And I heard Jason at some meeting say he was in favor of a parking commission. And I sort of got a little, I responded and said, well, Jason, make a motion, get it done. And, that hasn't happened. So, but nevertheless, that's at least two people who have admitted publicly they're in favor of this. It only takes one more so they can vote to establish it against the pushback, I guess, from the others. I don't know what the problem.
I don't know that. I don't understand the pushback exactly, but candidly, I haven't been following along as much as others have. So, but either way, I think that it is I mean, I suppose in the interest of diplomacy, not to have a snarky paragraph for paragraph 6 of saying, well, we asked you to do this, you haven't done it, so now we're gonna really force you to do it.
No,
Everyone seems to want to do it.
but I think our motion covered that we think they ought to do something. I
think-
forget what we said.
I think that's right.
Wasn't of the motion fairly strong?
I believe so.
Like, wasn't that discussion about shall,
Which one is this?
Parking commission.
just, I
Yeah.
think we sort of tried, the parking commission, I think we tried to make it something that shall happen versus a continuation of the, it would be nice if you would. So
Mhm.
my question is, what happened to the article then? If this Article 66, what happened to that commission? Did they disband it or the article?
Well, yeah, Rick, your hand's up first.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it, but
Yeah, right.
the article was permissive, Campbell?
Yeah,
Gave the board the authority to act and establish the commission. They declined and never established the commission. Okay, am that clear? So there's no disbanding. It was never established.
Yeah.
Right.
Tucker, your hand's up.
I just wanted to clarify. So the memo that we're working off of, like the language that's there that we all agree with, but we can massage that, correct? Like that we're not wedded to the specific.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
so
yeah,
I guess I'm just saying that maybe that needs to be cleared out and rewritten. Is that what everyone was already saying? And I just missed it.
I think, well, I think it's yes and no. So either we're going to rewrite it or massage it, or we're just going to add to it. And my guess is it's probably going to be a combination of the two, that we're going to need to edit it to add more and sort of take some things out and massage the language. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's a full on rewrite. I don't, but I think it's a decent template to start. How's that?
Yeah. I think because it's article is attached here too as Exhibit D, it just makes me wonder if how that relates to anything. If warrant Article 66 we have found to be ineffectual
Right.
at
And that's sort of the politics of it, or the diplomatic writing of it, being, well, we're not going to totally call you guys out for not doing what you said you were going to do. You have all the tools to do so. And perhaps, again, as Tucker said, very eloquently massage the language, say, well, we think that it's a good way to force you into this, and that you shall do this.
Well, I don't know about that word shall in this respect, because they have the ability to do it whether we like it or not. We probably should use the word should implement.
Well, we'll see what the motion was.
Yeah, I'll have to look through
Yeah.
that. No, I'm not going to pretend that I remember exactly. Okay, well, I think this is going to be a good one to write. Not so much because I don't think we're in agreement, or we have a disagreement about sort of what to say, but more so how to say it, which is a nice position to be in. All right, so after that, we have the establishment of a sewer commission. So that one, we said, in the event the select board wants to set up a sewer commission, further due diligence should be done to better understand the roles and responsibilities of the tasks necessary to accomplish this mission. Committee, while potentially supportive of this concept, is wary of unintended consequences that may be created by creating such a commission.
Now, in that section, John, we did talk specifically about creating a sewer abatement committee.
And I think that would be a good addition to this, with the motion and the language that we add.
Yeah,
That there would be a
that's
commission and an
critical.
abatement committee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so next item is paragraph 8, which is the review of the airport warrant article.
That was last year, wasn't it?
Sure was. I mean, so for something like that, I mean, I suppose that we should leave it in there as this is a final report saying what we've done, even though it's come and gone. I mean,
Maybe
hey,
it's,
Rick, you're still muted.
maybe it stays a short paragraph that it is.
Rick? I think you're
Well,
good
let's
now.
just, I think all we need to do is make sure it was on and passed last year. And then say what we said. It's done and over.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. So then we get to paragraph 9.
Yeah,
What do we got? Oh,
yep.
oh boy. All right. Parks and Rec.
We've had a lot of discussion. We've had probably more discussion about this than anything else except representative town government.
It's interestingly, yeah, I think that's probably right. So how do you guys want to, how do we want to tackle this?
What was the motion? The motion, or we discussed it the other day, was that we support reestablishment of the Parks and Rec department, fully funded Parks and Rec, separate Parks and Rec department. I wrote it down somewhere.
Hold on.
It's something along those lines. Here
It
it
was department.
We moved that the Parks and Recreation Commission be established and
No,
no, wait, no, you're right. You're right.
no,
Uh,
I'm looking for my notes here.
oh, here we go. It was moved that the Parks and Recreation Department be funded.
Be reestablished and fully funded as a separate entity.
Fully funded and staffed.
Yes, fully funded and staffed as a separate entity.
There you go. Okay, so well, I mean that's the motion. So how we want to put that into, I mean, obviously that will be included in the paragraph, but what more you want to add to that is, I mean,
Well,
That's-
in support of it, it was very effective, I guess, is the way to put it, over the parks and the staff and doing recreational programs. And I mean, it was a fully functioning thing.
But you may want to say fully funded and staffed in the XX budget, because they can, they could set it up and never actually put it into the right budget.
Well, right now it's still zero funded.
That's what I'm saying, but make sure it goes into the next town meeting or town warrant.
Campbell, yes, your hand's up.
Okay, so as far as the funding, is this something that we're thinking should go through the department should be under the DPW? I think that's the way Maria Zoda's article is written, and
Well, it wasn't before. That's the problem.
right, but it under its organizational structure at the state level, it's allowed to be done under the DPW.
It is, and that's how they started to get rid of it. They
Yeah, they're killing it.
transferred it.
DPW's killing it.
They transferred it to the DPW under Kara, who then dismantled it, period.
Right, but it would need, I'm just trying to find out, because any of these recommendations that are financed have to have some place to be.
Yes, they had their own line item before. They were their own department, had their own line item, and they had their own office.
Yeah. Right,
Oh.
just they are stated in the charter where they are with the school board, the airport commission, Parks and Rec department, right? Those are, I believe there were 4, maybe, I don't think sewer was one of them, but
No,
anyway.
Parks and Rec Commission, it wasn't the department.
So there were 4 departments.
That
It
was
should show up in the organizational chart as a separate department, not under DPW.
But
I have it
Right.
right here.
That's what's in the charter.
So again, I'm gonna go back to the motion of funding and establishing and staffing the Parks and Rec department. And that's I get that for the motion, and we're all, it's what it was. How are we gonna put that in what are we going to say as sort of our report backing that up? That's more so my question at this point. Campbell.
So I
Go ahead.
think we also said that it would be an independent department. Do I recall those words maybe?
Yeah, I said separate department, separate entity.
Separate, okay. Then I think the way this paragraph is written, we have in January 2020, the Town Government Study Committee voted to see what the outcome of the citizens article was at the 2020 annual town meeting before moving ahead with a recommendation. That still has not occurred. That article was called and will be voted on at the next annual town meeting, which will be June 5th, when this will be done. The committee has not heard back from town council relative to amendments to the charter as it relates to this issue. So what we did hear back, which we did hear back from town council, pretty much left the questions around this area the same as going in. They didn't say anything about anything with it other than, you know, dot an I here or something like that. And maybe that is what leads the committee to believe this separate, that Park and Rec is a separate department would be more effective and efficient at taking care of the fields and the needs for these lands or something like that. Does that sound like anything?
Run that by me again.
Well, the idea would be that since the committee has heard back from town council and the questions that we had around this section 4.8, 4.9, 3.4, et cetera, were not addressed by town council. The committee feels that it that this something that the Park and Rec department would be best reestablished as an independent department, funded and staffed through something, a line
Through
budget,
the normal budget process.
the normal budget process, that this would facilitate the proper care and management of the parks and recreational lands under the town's ownership. Is that what it is? Ownership, possession, something.
Jurisdiction.
Yes, there, good.
I mean, if that's something you all want to wordsmith on this, I think that generally is okay explaining. I mean, I think that the paragraph as it is now is a good sort of starting point, and we could massage it. But I think we need to add, you know, sort of as a conclusion, the article was called. We didn't hear what it's being called at 2021 town meeting. This report is going in before we do it. And so, because we haven't heard back from town council, this is the motion, and here's the explanation for why the motion is going to be what it is, and this is it. That would be sort of my overall sort of theme of, or outline of how I think it should go. I'm not going to touch the words with a 10-foot pole, because I will confess I still, this one still confuses me.
Which one? The Parks and Rec?
Yeah, that's still.
If
I
you're
think-
confused, we're all confused.
This one is, this that's something. So anyway, I mean, does that all make sense to everyone? And if Campbell and Linda, you want to tackle that one?
Well, I thought we had a pretty good handle on what Campbell just said and what we
Yeah.
motioned before. So it's just a simple I think just two sentences. Basically.
Okay, I'll buy that. And again, if we want to expand on it, we certainly can. I don't think there's any reason why we can't, so to speak.
I guess there's a lot of furor in this area, and I think we need to be really specific here.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be. This is going to be, I think, just as interesting as some of the other warrant articles that came up that are going to be at this year's town meeting. Yes, Campbell.
So Linda, I'm just wondering, after listening to what I was trying to put together, do you think you could take those ideas and make 2 sentences out of them that would come in motion?
Yeah, probably. I'll figure it out.
Okay.
I was instrumental in getting the Parks and Rec started. I'll figure it out.
Right. I think then with those 2 sentences about, like, along the ideas of what I was saying, and that could just be followed by the motion.
Yeah, Campbell, send me your thoughts again by email, and I'll figure it out.
I barely got them out of my head, but
It's early yet. All right. Let's see. What do we have next? Creation of a town ombudsman. I feel like this is the one with the
Isn't this the governance thing?
it's more so it's the Teresa Williams warrant article. I mean, and I think we've exhausted this one, frankly, but that's just
this one has been exhausted, but in that same paragraph, maybe we want to talk about what you found out about the governance thing and suggest that the select board do a further study on creating a governance committee, a standing governance committee for whatever you found in those other towns.
We said commission. The term was governance commission, not committee.
Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's semantics in that respect. It's someone appointed, so it's a semantics. But I think we should have a paragraph in that one that we have studied governance, whatever, in other towns that are standing committees or commissions or whatever. It's a committee. That would,
I think that comes up in the next paragraph. So I think this one we've addressed and have felt in the past that it was pretty much a final thought on it, and the commission that you're speaking of, I think, comes under 11, the Town Government Study Committee, with the 3-year staggered terms, et cetera. Is that what you're referring to?
No, I want it under 10 because that sort of takes the ombudsman thing out, but it does give an alternative that other towns have used. So in place of this type of thing, we've heard a lot of discussion over the last 2 or 3 years about this, that this may be an alternative that is done in other towns. So I'd rather leave it in 10 and leave the government study committee over there.
And it's a permanent commission, not
Yes, it's a standing committee.
every 5 years.
Yeah, it's a standing committee.
Rick, your hand's up.
Yeah, I, respectfully, team, I don't think we have discussed whatever this governance committee is supposed to be. And I don't remember any specific reference in the material I looked at in other towns that those so-called governance language was meant to include this kind of a ombudsman appeal process for essentially personal complaint issues. I don't think they're related at all. I think this is related to the 2 warrant articles, should be limited to that, and we should stop there. And if you want to deal with this other governance issue, we can tackle it in 11, but I don't think they're related. Thank you.
I always thought they were separate.
Sorry, say that again, Curtis?
I absolutely thought they were separate. The idea of a
Yeah.
standing commission with alternate terms rather than a every 5-year committee was what I thought we proposed, or I certainly did. And it didn't have anything to do with Teresa Williams' complaint.
I think that's right. And to Rick's point, we haven't made a motion on this.
No, we haven't.
No, we haven't. Yeah.
We haven't. I'm looking at my notes from the 21st, and we said we were gonna punt on it, so.
I thought I
Just
made
to
the
be
motion.
sure what you're referring to, John. when
Oh,
you
I'm
say-
sure. So of course, it was originally Curtis's motion of move that as town government study committee be reestablished as a town government commission, a standing commission.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you now. I just wasn't sure when you said this, it was referring to something else.
Sorry, yep,
But I totally agree with what you just said. We discussed it and took no action.
that's it. We said we were going to come back to it. And one of the interesting points was noting the independence of it and perhaps suggesting that the committee or commission be appointed by the moderator.
Well, that was the government study committee, not the governance committee, was it?
Well, it was all under the same on this one.
All one the same, and I like the moderator idea too.
All right.
So moved.
Thanks, Curtis. So
I have no idea what the motion is.
all right, well, there you go. So why don't we, if I may, I'm going to suggest that we've only got one more paragraph to look at on the memo. So let's finish the memo and then
I'll withdraw the motion.
and then go back to these sort of final motions where we have. All right, so this was the ombudsman, and the suggestion was, I think Rick's suggestion was sort of leave it as is. Any talk of the government study committee or commission, we move to another paragraph, which is, if I may, paragraph 11, which is the town government study committee, which we said the committee suggested potentially amending the terms of the existing committee to 3-year staggered terms, maybe approved for the select board and town admin to establish an internal review committee separate from town government study committee to look at day-to-day operations. Select board and town admin is empowered to establish a standing committee, and in the event they do supervising the role of the government study committee, and the charter may be prudent, et cetera. So I think that if we are going to make a motion or consider making a motion about a governance committee at all, this paragraph would need to be revised. I mean, I'm certainly happy however the committee winds up deciding it, but I do think that needs to happen. Yes, Campbell.
I think on this one, we decided to not include those things, and I could be wrong, but to just do the change or recommend a change to the appointing authority as the town moderator, and leave the rest of the charter piece alone every 5 years,
Yeah,
the numbers of people, the length of time. I thought that was a discussion from yesterday, but it was 23 hours ago, so you don't know.
Yeah, right.
well, I think, John, and every time we make these things, we need to support them. Like we studied other towns, every time we do that, we can't just be speaking out of our rears. We have to say that we did look at other towns, and other towns, the moderator does X, Y, and Z. I think we need to back up the fact that we just didn't create this out of whole cloth, that there are other places that do this successfully.
Well, that's based on the idea that the government study committee is accountable and answerable to the annual town meeting, which is run by the moderator.
Right. But I just want explanations in here for what we're doing, that we just didn't sit around for 2 years and dream this up on our own.
Well, you did with the citizens petition signing.
Well, no, that's been a problem for years.
Well, it may be a problem, but we didn't do any research on it.
All right. Let's keep moving forward. Tucker, your hands up very politely.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think this paragraph needs to be rewritten. I mean, I think I kind of agree with what Campbell was saying there, if I understood it correctly, that I think we said to look at the moderator appointing, including the basis that Linda was just talking about, was something that honestly, I can't remember, as Campbell said 23 hours ago, whether it was a motion or not, but I thought there was consensus on that. But the rolling nature or permanent establishment of like a governance committee, that was something we definitely punted on.
For what it's worth, I looked through my notes from last meeting, and thank you for that, Tucker. We noted it as a comment. I don't think we made a motion. I think we just noted it as a comment that perhaps the moderator should appoint the government study committee in an effort to remain independent and not under the thumbnail of town administration and the select board.
Yeah, I meant whether that I thought we voted to include that comment. Yeah.
So we need to rewrite this paragraph, and I think that's fine. And my guess is that depending on whether or not we want to do anything with this, with a motion about a standing governance commission, that would be included as well, or not. But I think that's sort of our next logical step in, if not this whole project, and at least this in the short term of this paragraph. So I think the question is there any movement for trying to create or recommending or suggesting further investigations or whatever for a standing governance commission? Tucker, your hand's up.
Well, if I'm remembering the discussion right, it just feels like that we did not have enough definition around what that body would do and what its charge was. I mean, at least for me, like to recommend, oh yes, we should have this standing thing. I mean, I think that the current every 5-year town government study committee system, while imperfect, like every aspect of democracy, works. And I'm not sure that we need to fix something else.
Okay. Rick, your hand.
Just to be clear, I agree with the statement Tucker just said. Thank you.
Okay.
Appointed by the moderator.
Yeah, that's another issue. That wasn't the governance committee.
Yeah.
That was a discussion about the appointment of the current bylaw, which is in the bylaws about the town government study committee.
Okay.
And we talked about recommending changing the appointment mechanism for that existing bylaw committee.
That helps.
And I think as it stands, the select board can appoint a single issue committee to research anything it wants.
Like a parking commission. Yes. Sorry, I had to get in while I could. Yes, they are empowered. Frankly, we've had enough sort of off the record conversations with other people in town administration, et cetera, about this. And I mean, I have no doubt that if this is something that they're interested in, any member of the select board could bend our ear and we could just say, look, well, you have the ability to do so. If you guys think it's a good idea, you can do it. Whatever you want to do, you can do. But so you select board, town admin, you have the power to do this. Okay. So.
And then you have the motions from before, which are not in this document.
Correct. So then sort of as I wouldn't call it a conclusion, but I guess what I would add to this would be all of the motions from Lauren's report. Do you want to, and I don't think I'm jumping the gun here, but should we attach her report as an appendix to this, or her comments as an appendix, or should we just say, look, these were the motions that we made, and from our minutes from
you should, but the problem is that we didn't vote to support all of them. So that
exactly
that needs to be noted.
Exactly. That's it. That is exactly right. Campbell, yes.
Well, can we continue along with the same paragraph format you've been using and just put in like 12 and, town council? Because I think, or you know, and even where you place it, you might even place it right after 9 or something like that. Or at the end, and we can start making a new list. And I think attaching the report is a good idea, because I think for those who look into our report, it would support the fact that nothing was stated or done on the sections that we had concerns about as previously stated.
The comments to the charter from town council, they say a lot in a lot of ways. You know, that yes, she has reviewed those, but it's also glaring what was not reviewed. And I think that's, you know,
Yeah.
for
So
lack of a better
that's,
term, cover our tail. That's I think.
So
it's what
I
noted.
would be in favor of a short write-up and an attachment of her report.
And from there, I think what I would also do is, if I may, just say, okay, well, I think there were some, and don't ask me what they are, because I can't remember, but I feel like we had other motions that Curtis or Rick made that we
Yes.
could add as separate paragraphs.
Yes.
And Rick, I think your hand was just up.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think we made a number of motions after we reviewed town council's Word documents. So
Yeah.
having all those motions in here like the others is very appropriate.
So my sense was going to be that we're going to have a paragraph, let's just call it paragraph 12. And it's, you know, the committee looked through the revisions of town council's, the revisions that town council made to the charter, attached here as Appendix E. And these are our motions, or these are our recommendations from those revisions, and just have the list of motions that way.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yes, Campbell, your hand's up.
So a couple of the ones that have not been included, so it might be 13, would be the citizens petition.
Yep.
Thing. I'm just trying to think, like, if we can, because I know there were a number of motions that were made on things that we don't have. So I'm just saying to you, like, as you go through the motions, if one of the motions it isn't already covered in our memo, do you see what I mean? Just
Yes.
add
Yep.
12, 13, 14.
100%. Like
Like-
the number on the warrant article, like number of citizen signatures for a warrant article. I mean, it was never up before. And, you know, paragraph 14 is committee.
Right, so I'm
thought that
just,
this would be a good idea.
you know, so they run side by
Yep.
each.
I think that will make a lot of sense for formatting and for what sort of explaining what we've done. Okay, so that's this is huge progress. So my suggestion at this point is going to be a combination of, well, certainly I'm going to clean up the minutes so we know what all the motions are. From there, do you want me to start adding, like,
Yeah.
just adding them as paragraphs and sending it around as a draft document, and we can fill it in as need be?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's going to be a rainy Memorial Day weekend.
And we're not going to pay you for this.
Didn't we agree last time that
Oh, no.
we would see the exact wording of all the motions that we were talking about, and that was
One-
being prepared?
Absolutely. We 100% need to see that. We need to see all the motions. I think what I might like to try to do would be to set up, in addition to our memo, perhaps set up just a Word file of and label it motions, and just have a basically copy and paste from the minutes. Here are all the motions that we made on this. And so
I think that's
so that we'll
an
have-
excellent idea.
and that they'll
Yeah,
be
thank you.
and it'll be easy to review that way.
And this is going to be in a draft report that we'll all see before we vote to approve?
We
the
have,
report?
yeah, we have to. I mean, I think although we're really close at this point, I think it's just compiling, and before we can compile, I think we need, it's one thing to say that we're going to wordsmith, sort of the semantics of it, or the syntax and whatnot, but it's another to make sure that we all inherently agree on the motions and the way that the motions are phrased, et cetera.
And the form of the report.
Yeah, I think that too. I mean, and for what it's worth, I've been thinking about the report, and I think one of the sort of the preamble, I think it's gonna be, a paragraph or so of say, look, I've got all the agendas for all of our meetings. I'm gonna say we held 75 meetings. We held 2 public hearings, 75 meetings, countless interviews, blah, blah, blah. And just so you can say, look, this is what we've done, from between March or whenever we started of 2019 and now, or however long it's been. But I think that's, and then I think we go into the bulk of this.
Good.
Yeah. Easier said than done, I know, but at least we have an idea.
Have a nice weekend, John.
Yeah, thanks, Curtis. So like I said, I mean, I'm not anticipating by any stretch of the imagination this is going to be in final form for our next meeting. I mean, I think we'll have a decent outline. And then I'll call on all of you to edit and fill in paragraphs as need be.
And when do you want to meet again?
Yeah, it was just what's the process there? Yeah.
Great. So
We
when
need to finalize it.
When do we
Well,
need
how
to meet?
long do you need to get this draft ready? Maybe next Thursday would be a good time.
Wednesday
I would say let's do Wednesday.
and Thursday. We can always cancel Thursday if we don't need it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say I think what I'll do if it's okay is I think I'll schedule with Erica for see if we can do
Do a repeat of this week.
I was gonna
10
say
a.m.
let's do Wednesday. Let's do Wednesday and Thursday. He doesn't attempt to do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
But Wednesday, I think Wednesday was at 10, Thursday was at 9.
Yeah, because Wednesday's my 9 o'clock church, so 10
Wednesday
is good.
10, Thursday 9.
9.
I'll schedule it with Erica, and hopefully then we'll be done for Saturday. And
I
then
would schedule it for 2 hours minimum, just so we don't run into trouble.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, for what it's worth, today was a 2-hour meeting, and I think we're just about wrapping up. So it's at least we have it there.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. So with that in mind, I'm assuming we have getting our report together. I assume we have no other business.
No, because I'm taking a whack at the non-voting taxpayers and the Parks and Rec. Those are
Yes, because we still have those motions. Of course,
Yep.
we still have the
Yeah, Rick and
non-voting taxpayer and what Curtis and Tucker are going to look at. Awesome. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Tammy.
I think I'm trying to write a motion for the charter change for the appointing authority. Is that what I'm doing?
What's happening?
I'm just asking if that's what I'm doing, writing a motion to change the appointing authority.
Moderator?
Oh, to the
Government.
moderator? Yeah.
Yeah,
Go for it. 100%.
okay.
Good world.
So is the idea, John, that let's say anyone who's working on writing is going to share it with the rest of the group, let's say by Tuesday, so that everyone will have had it before we convene on Wednesday. So
I think that's reasonable.
Well, it has to be sent, not among ourselves. It has to be
No,
sent
no.
to
Send
John.
it to me. Send
Yeah.
it
send
to
it
me.
to John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me break out the old calendar here. So what we're saying is June 2nd and 3rd. Cool. Okay. Right? Yeah. 6-2 at 9 and 6-3. No, 6-2 at 10. Sorry. This is why we do it. And 6-3 at 9 a.m. via Zoom. Okay,
Do you
Yeah, I
want,
will-
do you want to book Friday or just take our chances?
No,
You
no,
can always
let's,
cancel.
no, let's force ourselves to conclude
Yeah.
on Wednesday and Thursday.
With a sword of Damocles hanging over our head here.
Yes,
Yeah. I like that. Let's do it that way.
Uh, And
yes.
just what, so we get our report to where we would like it by Thursday.
Yeah.
What actually are we, which is sort of you, John, like doing at town meeting with it?
I'll be honest, Tucker, I don't know.
Yeah.
I assume that I'm going to have it posted at like online, because I think it's going to be a large document.
Mhm.
Do we copy it and
I
then
don't-
have it available at town meeting? I think is the way that's supposed to go.
I would normally say so, but the thing that makes me nervous is that if we're going with, given the number of appendices in this, I mean, it's going to be like 30 or 40 pages.
Yeah.
Double-sided, it's only 15.
It
So-
might be,
So
sorry.
that is, yeah. Originally, Tucker, I was thinking, oh, easy enough. It's going to be a 4 or 5 page memo. No problem. We'll just bang out a bunch of copies from Poets Corner. Easy breezy. We're good. But the more I think about this, I mean, if we're going to include these appendices, it's going to be a weighty document. I'm not sure.
I would ask Erica, just ask Erica and whatever she says we do.
Okay. Curtis, yes.
I have to sign into the Harvard Divinity School commencement for our seminarian, so I'm going to excuse myself and I'll see you guys later.
Thank you. Happy Memorial Day.
Rainy.
Yeah. Okay. I'll ask Erica. I will. So my number one task as soon as this meeting is over, is I'm going to schedule our 2 meetings, and I'm going to ask her, hey, we're hoping to have, or we're going to have the report ready at town meeting. What is this going to look like? My guess is it's going to be 30 plus pages. You know, I don't know what. I mean, do
you need to include Sarah in that note to Erica? Like, is there some formal acceptance of this? I just don't know what happens with it.
I don't know either, and maybe that's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll email Erica, Libby, and Sarah and just say, look, this is it. We're wrapping up. What are the mechanics? Because I know, and Erica has asked me like, oh, when are you presenting to the select board? And she's like, well, if you're going to present on Wednesday, like we needed all your information yesterday. So I'm like, okay, fantastic. So I guess we're going to present our.
just going, we already did an update to the select board, and this is really for town meeting.
Well, I think there.
If they have questions, we can schedule for after.
I think it's going to be for after. I think that's exactly. It's just what it's going to be. I mean, we're not going to be. There was no. Well, I should say there was no way, but we weren't going to be ready. So it happens.
Well, we wouldn't be disbanded until around the 26th of June or 25th of June or something.
Right. I know as long as we can do another Zoom meeting before the 15th.
Right.
Okay, cool. All right, I will do that. So with that in mind, anybody have any other business? If not, can we have a motion to adjourn at 10:05?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded. All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Rick Atherton,
Aye.
Campbell Sutton,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
Tucker Holland,
Aye.
and the chair, John Brescher, votes aye as well. All right, I'll send that email to Erica and Libby right now, and Sarah.
Yes,
And
thank you.
Sarah. All right, thank you, everyone. All right, we'll see you, and yeah, and we'll get those things posted. All right, we'll see you next week. Happy
Thank you.
Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.
Everyone.